Hello, everybody. Hey, everyone. Happy Sunday, everyone. We're going to be foregoing bonus content since we're recording late in the week and getting right into some video games. Logan's here. Hi, Logan.
Hi, it's me. Hello, I'm Logan.
I guess I'm about to reintroduce everybody anyway, but Nabeshin's not here. Maybe he'll be joining us. We'll see. Any last-minute thoughts and feelings anyone wants to get out on the air before we start?
Sup, nerds?
Sup, nerds? I have like this big booger in my right nostril. I've had it there since like last night, and it's like dried up, and I can't get it out. It's my waking nightmare. That's my last thought. It is Sunday, July 21st, 2019, and you are listening to the Irrational Passions podcast. I am Alex O'Neill, the conductor of this podcast play of video games that you all are a part of. You all being Mr. Scott Guthier.
Hello.
Tony Horvath.
Sorry.
And no Brian Nabeshin Jackson here right now this week, but we do, from the editorial side, have Mr. Logan Wilkinson.
What's up? We're out here 5 minutes after getting home from work. I'm excited. I'm ready to be here. It's a great day, okay? In Austin, Texas, in Maryland. What a time to be alive, kids.
He's got sunglasses on. For audio
It's
listeners
cool
out
kids
there.
time. We're cool kids time, yeah. We're cool kids now.
Are
We're
you
off work? We're cool.
It's been 12 calendar years since you were on Irrational Passions podcast last, Logan.
That is accurate. That is accurate. That's confirmed.
I talk to you almost every day, so it's like weird for me to think that, but how are you doing? How's it feel to be back?
Great. It's like my triumphant return, right? You have to like leave some like kind of the crowd's demand to return, right? The audience has been asking,
Clamoring.
eagerly anticipating my return. Yeah, clamoring. Thank you, right, for me to come back to IPP, and so I'm happy to be here. You know what I mean? It's a special podcast. You know what I mean? It's got Tony. It's got Scott. What more can you ask for in the world?
Nabeshin.
Right? You're also here, Nabeshin. I guess you can ask for Nabeshin. It's weird too because we also like have like other things happening as well between like me and you. So it's like, it's weird to like podcast as Alex. But it's like, well, not really, because there are other things happening in the pipeline here. And also see you every day in Slack. But it's like, yeah, I don't see Tony every day.
What is truly weird is podcasting with Scott. It's a
And by
gift.
truly weird, you mean, yeah, magical, right?
Yeah, it's a magical
I'll have
gift.
you know. Take my sunglasses off, like CSI Miami moment here.
Dramatic removal for audio listeners.
Out of everybody on IPP, I don't think anybody is viewed as a more mythological and magical creature, like a unicorn, I would say, than Scott among the editorial staff.
It's true.
The larger IPP fan base.
This is true. Scott, you have a lot of fans in the editorial side.
You do.
That's funny.
Yeah, I think
Although, I have also heard the rumor. Podcasting with me is I can't believe it's not meth.
I can't believe it's not Matt. I mean, you make everything so technical, Scott. It's delightful. We got an all-star cast right here, and we're going to be talking about some video games. I've been naming the summer episodes of IPP Summertime Vibes on the website. So this is Summertime Vibes Part 3. Because there's just not a lot of news to talk about, so most of these shows are just what we're playing, how we're feeling. We got a nice little... we've been getting these nice little updates before we start recording from Tony about his new job. Nabeshin's been away because he's been sick and spending time with family, so like it's a weird time. I imagine
summertime vibes, man.
Once we get out of the summer and into the fall, things will kind of get a little bit more back to normal. But I like the summertime vibes, except for this unbearable heat. I don't know, what's the temperature look like in Austin, Texas right now, Logan?
Right now, at this exact moment in Austin, according to my weather app, it is exactly 90-something, 97 degrees.
Okay.
Feels like 102. And I will say, it doesn't seem that hot. I mean, it feels like a chilly 97. I would say like a brisk, like almost like you have to wear like kind of like a baseball tee. It's so hot kind of weather. It's
do you know the humidity percentage?
I can figure it out on my app. Technology.
Right now in Maryland, it is 95 degrees. Feels like 107. No big deal. And I'll tell you, when you're outside, feels like 107. Nice, wet, hot, terrible 107.
It is at 36% humidity.
Okay, we're at 48%, so I get you.
Luckily, Austin is the least humid place I've ever lived in, out of Missouri, Florida, and Texas. So that's nice.
Yeah.
I'm slowly getting less and less humid from literally living in a swamp in Florida, which has been great.
Well, Texas is not landlocked. At least Austin itself is, so you don't have like a lot of bodies of water nearby.
Yeah.
But it's hot, and none of us want to be outside.
I love the heat, though. Oh, I love to be outside.
I know you like the heat, but you're a crazy person.
That's true.
I'm learning to deal with it.
Yeah. Because Tony, we were talking about your job, but like I worked in a steam room, like a steam room where you cook crabs and lobsters and whatnot. And that was like a similar thing of like I just got to get used to this, I guess. And it's like roughly 110 degrees in there at any given time. The only time like where it like broke me was when I had to literally just walk outside, go behind the dumpster, and just projectile vomit because I was so hot, and then I walked back in, cleaned myself off, and went back to work because that's what you got to do. But we got video games to talk about real quick before we get into video games. Irrational Passions podcast is a product of irrationalpassions.com, which there's a couple of cool things out there you should probably check out. We got the update, episode 2, book club, Sonic 06, Jarrett, George, Scott White playing Sonic 06. Logan, you played enough of Sonic 06 to know that you don't want to play Sonic 06.
Yep. I basically got through the first checkpoint, couldn't make that episode, and then played into like the second checkpoint and was like, you know what? What if I just didn't do this instead, actually? What if I just didn't do this
What if I like lived my life?
Yeah, it's because it's that thing of like, it's like one of those things where it's like, man, this is really funny. And then it's like, actually, that is no longer the case. And it was just a thing of like, there are other video games I can play, or just things that aren't punishments. And I was like, I like that instead. And so I quit. I'm glad they admit that. I was like, nope.
And that's, you know what? I'll allow it. It's that game seems really bad.
It's the worst video game I've ever played in my life. And like, I knew that going in that it would probably be the case, but it's just like, it's weird because
having that actualized in front of you, like,
right. Like actually be like, oh, this is the worst thing I've ever played. Where like everything about it is just bad. On like a level where it's like, I don't understand what went wrong, but like everything went wrong. That's the thing. Like it's just all of it. Like there's like, it doesn't make any sense. But shout out to that opening credits. It's beautiful opening credits.
You didn't even get to see spoilers for anyone following along with book club, but you didn't even see Sonic kiss that woman on the lips.
No, I haven't seen it. Maybe I'll come back to that one episode just for that one moment.
It's the only part I want to see.
I know, right? It's the only part I'm in for. Give me that furry shit.
I was gonna say.
Inputs this week. Were you on the input this week, Logan?
I was not. No, it was George and Jess.
What did they talk about?
They actually had on Blake Hester, I believe, and they talked to him about a piece he'd written about video game characters keep appearing in porn ads, but there's not a lot that video game publishers can do to stop it, was like the main thrust of the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And that was input 99. Next week, I guess this week now, will be input 100.
Oh, shit. Yeah, that is this week.
And we will have a very, very special guest on for the podcast. It'll be great.
Excellent. Do I know who this is? Did you tell me?
It's been in senior and input chat, so you might know who it is. I don't know.
Okay, I'll double check because I've been I had some time off this week. Cool. And the only other thing up on Irrational Passions this week, Jarrett Green wrote a feature on Slay the Spire, a game I know you're familiar with, Tony.
Game's good.
Very good. I think it came to consoles recently, and I think it came to Switch actually, and we got code for it. So Jarrett was writing that up as kind of like a piece in regards to that. He likes it a lot, surprising nobody. But that game seems awesome. I gotta try it. That's it. We got some stuff coming. There's a lot of stuff coming. Logan and I are working on a thing that we're so excited to share with you.
Yes.
It's just finding the right we know like when it's going to start, but it's like when do we tell you guys about it?
When to start teasing,
yeah. Probably soon in the next couple of weeks. But we got like I mentioned it I think last week. We got 2 new podcasts coming soon, and they're going to be really, really cool. I'm really excited about them. So with all the housekeeping out of the way, irrationalpatch.com, go check it out. I would appreciate it. Let's talk about video games, video juegos, if I may. Who wants to go first? Not all at once.
Not me, because I'm gonna have to stand up here in like 2 minutes or something.
Okay, you're good. Scott,
I guess I can go.
Yeah, you got some video games, Scott?
It's not too much.
Okay.
But I got back into Sekiro.
Nice.
Ooh.
Okay. I immediately found out that I spent too much time away from the game and got my ass handed to me to step away from wherever I was last.
That's kind of a nice feeling, though.
For everybody's reference, it is the Ashina Castle, where it was the save point right next to a boss. So it was in the upper part of the castle.
Yes, I know.
Where there was now, I want to say, the hooded samurai who kicks.
Yeah, the ninja.
So, yeah, the ninja boss up there.
Yes.
During that second phase of the game.
Yes.
So that's where I went in last. So I ran in there. I started smacking the guy. He wasn't taking a whole lot of damage. And I was like, oh yeah, I got to break him.
Oh yeah, there's a whole poise system in this game.
Yeah. So I tried to end up doing that and I lost.
Okay.
So I was like, So I proceeded to just go back to the start of the game to, relearn now everything.
I did this exact thing before when I was playing the game, yeah.
So, because as it turned out, I forgot half the buttons in the game.
Yeah, that'll do it.
And I was just hitting the wrong ones. So as I was doing that, I came across the... let's see. Because there is a locked door at the very beginning of the game. Not the I would call it the
prologue area,
not the prologue period.
Yeah,
but
like the actual beginning of the game. Yeah, I gotcha.
In the middle of the first area, Ashina outskirts. So I was thinking, you know what? They generally don't have a locked door that is interactable unless you can unlock it at some point.
Yeah, it's only Bloodborne with that one locked door that you can't get through. But yeah.
So I went ahead and I took a look at it, and I couldn't figure it out. It took me about like 30 minutes to not figure it out. But then I stopped trying to figure it out, and then I found the side area, right? With a sign that says, hey, you're going to die over there. Found a headless, and none of our weapons work.
Yeah, okay. I know exactly what you're talking about now.
So I go over there, I jump. I absolutely fucking die the first time. I just jump, I didn't have enough health, and I died.
Yeah.
So that was upsetting.
Yeah. I like a lot that your journey with Sekiro mirrors mine in a lot of ways.
I just thought that was funny.
Yeah.
And then there's the area that I'm going to is just very weird.
Yeah.
So you're supposed to jump from, I guess, kind of a broken bridge onto a tree.
Yes.
And I, of course, mixed up the hook button.
The
grappling hook button.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mixed that button up and I just didn't hit the right button. I fell.
Yeah, it happens, Scott. I forget.
And then after I was on the tree, I was like, where the hell do I go? And it took me a good 5 minutes to realize that there was a ledge that you could jump onto. Down below.
Did you get to the headless cave?
Yes, I guess I will move this forward.
Yeah.
So I decided, you know what?
I mean, I like hearing you falling off rocks and dying a bunch, but at some point,
Scott is the Salinger of IPP right now.
Slaughterhouse Scott is like the mood that we are in for now.
Anyway, so I ended up finding the headless, and I said, you know what? Fuck this for right now. So I turned around, I went to the other portion of the cave, and lo and behold, that is how you unlock the door. There was just a pathway up the other side.
Yeah.
And that is how you got to it. So I was like, okay, neat. I did that. I guess now it's time to fight a headless.
Yeah.
Because I found 2 of them before. There was this one. There was one in the Forest of Illusions. That's not what it's called, but if you've played the game, you'll know where I mean.
Mm-hmm. I know exactly what you mean.
And then there was, I forget where I found the other one, but I just thought I had a third count.
The headless. There's a lot of them. I think there's 5 of them because like every time you beat one, you get the reusable monk sugar that lets you like get the buff, and it uses like your resource instead of like an item that's usable. There's the forest one in the mist. There's that one in the cave. There is, I think, one in like the dungeon. It's somewhere. And then there's 2 underwater, but I don't know if you've gotten to those guys yet.
Yeah, I probably haven't gotten to those guys yet.
Okay. That's when the headless get most spooky, when they're underwater.
Yeah, because then I guess the strategy that I used to beat this one, because I did end up fighting him and winning.
Yeah.
I guess underwater the strategy to fight this one is not going to work.
It's there. Like when you get there, I think you'll be able to figure it out though. The trick with those guys, and it's similar to the Sachimen warriors. It's kind of like anybody that does like terror based attacks. Is the I don't know if I'm sure you have some, but I don't know if you've been using them. There's like
it's the divine
confetti.
Confetti?
Yeah. You got
So
it.
yeah, that's how you just do a lot of damage to them.
Yeah, because like those undead enemies they won't take normal damage otherwise. Like they take a very
Right.
very little damage.
And they also just don't take posture damage either.
Yeah. It's
So
brutal.
I figured that might be the case. That I had to use an item, so I just started blowing through them.
Yeah.
Found one that worked.
This is what I did too. Okay, yeah.
Because it happened with the guy that was throwing. It happened with the shaman. I just didn't do any damage, and I did a little bit more damage the second time I went to face him because I had way more attack power, but it was still abysmal.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming the headless just get harder as you go on.
Pretty much, yeah. Because you'll fight
They
ones
just
that
have
are
a little more stats.
yeah, they just have more stats.
But
Kind of like some of them.
So I
normal
figured
enemies.
that going back to this one, I would do, some damage, unlike the first time I went to fight one, and then nope the fuck out of it. And I was wrong.
Yeah.
So I said, you know what? Okay, the theme here, as with all these games, is time to buff up your weapon.
Yes.
So I found it.
And like that's like some From Software shit, like the lightning paper and stuff that you've used in the past games. So
I found it. I used it, and I was like, okay, fantastic. I can hit him, but I still can't like get near him. So I ended up finding this out on accident, but you can kind of just spin around his back forever.
The headless or the Sachiman warrior?
The headless.
I agree. I agree with this.
You can get around to the back of the headless warrior, and he'll just slowly turn around. And you can just walk to the other side.
Yeah, you can kind of circle strafe him pretty easily. He does that one attack where he like lays around and does like the weird spin move, but aside from that,
and then you have to just run back and out of it. But what he'll do is he'll just teleport behind you, and then walk forward. So you just get behind him again, just immediately. And that's problem solved.
Yeah.
I
might have to try this because I know exactly what you're talking about. I would always fuck it up though, so I might have to try this when I play again.
So all you really had to do was get to his backside, swing once, and then do it again.
Mm-hmm.
And so long as you did never mess that up, he would never attack.
Okay. Interesting.
The only time that he would attack is if he had you in vision.
Mm-hmm. And then, but they will like warp away.
But
they'll like disappear, and then they'll come and try and grab you and stuff. So,
yeah, that's the thing. He won't do that if you keep to his backside.
If you like stay in the right spot. Okay.
It's not even about the right spot. It's like a wide angle backside where he just wants to turn around.
Interesting. I never get.
So long as what he's gonna do is he's gonna try to turn around, and if you just get behind him and then attack to, I want to say, his the angle that would put you more behind him.
But like still kind of like on the left or right side.
Right. It's you'll attack as he does his first little shift, and you can just walk the rest of the way and do it again.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, I see what you're talking about.
Sometimes he will try and go the other way, but like so long as he is turning, he's not attacking. And so if you're doing one attack and not getting greedy with two, you can walk behind him again, even though you absolutely passed in front of him.
I guess I've never like successfully got him caught in like turning around like that, but I'll have to try it again.
So yeah, that was a pretty anticlimactic way to deal with that guy, but it worked.
Whatever works, man. Sometimes you got to take those cheap wins when you get them. Did you make any story? After that? Did you go back and fight the owl boss or no?
So I made 0 story progress, and I kind of made 0 story progress on purpose.
Okay.
One, I was just still pretty rusty as I was doing that, because in the first area, I don't have to do anything but spam R1.
Yeah.
So I'm not getting any better or really getting used to the game all that much down here.
Yeah.
And that was all in the span of me just going back through this level.
Okay, that's fair. But you got your feet wet again. You're probably getting ready to fight some bigger, tougher folks, which is good.
Let's see. What else did I do that was notable? I don't think it was too much. I thought about jumping in the pit.
Just still thinking about it.
I was thinking about doing it like the first thing I got back to after you had said something last time.
Yeah,
we talked about this.
I appreciate your considering.
That was going to be the first thing that I did.
You're considering all your options,
but after having my ass handed to me, like very much so, from something that I shouldn't have had a problem with.
Yeah,
I decided against it.
Yeah, that's fair. Don't want to get too into deep water. Did you play any games outside of Sekiro?
Outside of this, nothing too notable.
Any Darkest Dungeon or anything like that?
I guess I progressed the Darkest Dungeon a little further.
Okay.
But I'm not anywhere super notable in that game. I can tell you about some of the bosses.
Tell me about your favorite. Tell me your favorite.
Oh, they're all awful.
I hate them all, actually.
Yeah. All of them. Absolutely all of them.
Are they like gross monsters in that game, or are they like just big dudes, or?
Yeah, gross monsters and big dudes. You've actually nailed it on the head perfectly. I think there's a crocodile.
There's also a big fucking cannon.
There's also a giant cannon. I haven't fought the cannon yet, so like to my knowledge, just gross and big dudes.
I'm Google image searching Darkest Dungeon giant cannon right now because I gotta know. Oh yeah, that guy looks like a dick.
They're all dicks.
I mean, they're
like. Let me tell you about the hag.
Yeah.
Tell me about the hag.
So this goddamn hag tries to be a fucking witch and puts one of your guys in a cauldron.
Whoa. Like takes them out of your like they can't attack or anything?
They take them out of your lineup and they stick them in a cauldron and they take like 5 damage a turn.
Jesus.
Some within 2 or 3, I forget the exact number. He can absolutely hit death's door and die in that cauldron.
I'm looking at bosses and these are not looking very friendly.
No.
What do you mean, dude? They're so cute.
They're anything but. Period.
Yeah. The hag, I'm looking at a picture of the cauldron here. That's not a good look, Scott.
Yeah, I mean, otherwise the boss isn't too bad.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, like, that's just a dick move.
It's a Kirby move right there. Trying to put somebody in a cauldron.
One of the grossest ones is the Wall of Flesh.
Mm.
I have to search.
It sounds
this.
like it.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Right, that, yeah.
Yeah, so it just does a bunch of weird shit and changes all the time,
Mm-hmm.
and it looks gross.
Yeah, it does. It's got like kind of a piggish head, but with extra holes in it.
I was gonna say I found one called the Swine Prince that looks pretty gnarly.
The swine
You should look at
Prince
this
is
one,
actually
Alex.
not too bad as far as like boss fights go. It makes a whole lot of sense,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a decent fight, which is the only one I can say is that. Because one of the necromancers could just kind of an asshole. He resurrects a healer and a defender to protect him and then heal him.
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of can ignore.
I like the
Bring
Swine
back
Prince.
people,
I
ignore
like
that.
I like his style. He's got like 2 little flags that he's carrying around.
Which one?
The Swine Prince? Maybe that's just a regular enemy.
Yeah. So it should be a huge swine with a
He's
little
a
guy
big
behind him.
Yeah. Okay.
Get
So,
some, like guts spilling out. Yeah.
oh yeah, that's cool. It's metal as AF.
So in that fight, the guy behind him marks targets, and so for the other 2 guys to do extra damage too. So naturally, you'd think, "Hey, kill that small guy because he has low HP," but that's a very bad idea. Promise, that's a terrible idea.
Mm-hmm.
He will enrage afterwards and deal double damage, and
That-
have extra actions.
That's not good. I hate
It's a very bad idea.
when
But
bosses get
otherwise,
extra
it's a pretty
actions.
straightforward fight.
Well, I've looked at enough pictures of Darkest Dungeon.
Hey, well, you know what, dude? Maybe you hate it when bosses get extra actions, but Pokemon gym leaders hate it when you use hyper potions in forward.
Yeah, and I hate it when the gym leaders use hyper potions. All right.
What I'm saying is it goes both ways.
Yeah, those those
Tony
fuckers
sees
are
all
cheating.
sides of it, man. All right, you know what I mean? Like,
It's a black and white conflict, okay? Or it's a
Yeah.
gray area conflict. It's not black and white. I get it. Did you play anything else, Scott? I feel like we've exhausted the Darkest Dungeon bosses.
Well, you haven't heard about the collector yet.
Oh my god. Now I gotta look at this thing. I will say the art for this game is rad as
Rad.
heck.
Yeah.
Collector. What's he do?
So
Close.
unlike the necromancer, who just summons a couple of specific things,
Mm-hmm.
this guy summons essentially dead party members. Not like your dead party members, but it's as if other party members have gone into this dungeon before, and he just put them in a bag. And brings them out later.
Obviously.
Jesus. Yeah, it seems like the Collector is like an infamously disliked boss in this game because there's a lot of memes about him.
Right. So well, the reason why people just don't like him is because he's a random encounter.
Oh, gross.
So you're walking along, you do a scout thing, and you're like, you know what? I could go do an extra fight for some extra loot. Bam, it's the collector.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're in like a deep shit. Yeah. I get that.
And now it's like, you know what? I can fight this guy, but this is the last thing I wanted to deal with right now.
Yeah.
You better hope it's not doing that to you on a boss level, because that means you got to quit the boss at that level.
Man, that would suck. Yeah, I see the give and take.
Promise. You will think that you don't have to,
But you do.
but you are wrong, and you should try again later.
You should walk away. You got to know when to quit.
Yeah, that's a huge part of this game. Knowing when to just let go.
Just let it go, dude.
Just let it go. Elsa had it right, y'all. Cool. Anything else, Scott?
That's about it.
Logan,
Hello.
video games. It's been a while. What's
been a
occupying your
while.
time right now?
Yeah, so I've been playing two different things. One you'll talk about as well, so I'll save most of mine for when we get to your thing.
Mm-hmm.
The other big one that we've been talking about is Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Yes.
Which is a video game that almost unanimously the Rush Passions editorial staff said I wouldn't enjoy.
That's
and that
not
was
true.
bad.
There was one brave soul who said, "I think
That's true.
Logan might like this game," and it was
That's
me.
true. Alex did stand up against the frenzied masses and say no, he might.
Did you
Well, let's be fair,
ever?
Tell
Mhm.
me, let's
but
be
also
fair.
aggressive at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Did they make a recommendation based off of what they thought you might like, or what they thought about it?
what they thought about
What
it.
they
It's
thought
definitely
about
what
it.
yeah, it's definitely what it was. Yeah, like, and it's interesting too because I haven't played Assassin's Creed Origin.
As I was gonna
This
ask.
game has definitely given me the desire to go back to do that. But I have played Assassin's Creed games in the past. Not a lot. Like I never was a big fan of this series because the games played like trash.
True.
And in particular, like they were bad stealth games and they marketed themselves like stealth games, but they didn't make any sense like that. I felt like
There's no crouch button in Assassin's Creed
No,
before
dude.
Origins. It's like absurd. Yeah.
Alex took my biggest point that I always make. Like you couldn't
You
fucking
couldn't crouch.
when you wanted to in a stealth game. Like it wasn't a stealth game. It was terrible. Like,
They did add that to the French one, Unity, I think it is.
maybe Unity's the French one,
But I
yeah,
think they
'cause
took
Syndicate's
it.
in London.
I think they took it out of Syndicate. It
it's
just
just
doesn't
like-
make any sense.
and
to
I was just
me.
like what, and so like I think Odyssey. I love how it plays.
Mhm.
Like it feels very good. I love doing the stealth. I love trying to do everything stealthy. It makes sense in that world, I think. But like for me, the big thing for Odyssey is that yeah, like it plays well, it feels well, like climate interest in the world. But even more than that is like the world itself is amazing, right? Like I love like classic Greece stories and that kind of that world and mythology, and Odyssey like dives headfirst into all of that, and it's set in a super cool time, and that world is teeming with like things to see and explore and places to go and people to meet, and
What I love,
it just
I didn't mean to cut you off, but like,
no, but like it feels so alive, right? Like
yes, what I love too is like with Odyssey in particular, like they went 1-to-1 like on the map and general things, but there was a lot more like artist interpretation of Greece instead of like just here's what it looked like at the time, right? Which is
Yeah.
which works for a thing like Rome where it's like a relatively known quantity, but they went far more abstract with this. So like the I forget who's the Greek myth with the dude getting his liver eaten out.
oh shit,
Yeah, I can't remember his name.
Prometheus.
Prometheus,
He was
yes.
fire. Yeah.
He like there's like this big, huge, like it's like the size of 3 large hills, like statue of him. I don't know if you've seen this in the world yet.
I think so, yeah.
And he's like his body's open. And it's just
Yes,
it's like
yeah.
this giant like raven statue, like or whatever eagle or whatever ripping out his liver. And it's like they took the myth and kind of like incorporated it into the world. In this really, really cool way, as opposed to just like having that be like a small statue or something. They like made it this big kind of set piece of the world. And there's a lot of that stuff, especially when you get into like the actual mythical creatures and stuff in that game, and it's really cool.
Which I haven't really gotten into super much. I've only seen like 1 or 2 like mythical
I think like
beings even.
the first fight is like minimum level 35, I think, so it's like pretty late game stuff.
Yeah, and I'm only like mid to late teens right now. Like I'm only like 14 hours into it, 15 hours into it, because I had to stop because I started playing 2 other games. It kind of took some of the time up, but like it's just great. And like what I love about it is that like it feels so like true to that time, right? Like it's that weird thing where it's like, man, this game takes place in 430 BC, and I feel like it nails that like setting and time period so well, right? And,
Yeah.
like, whether it's like walking down like the streets and like that's the thing too. Like you have a horse, and I like the horse a lot. Like the horse is cool, but like I love just like getting off on foot and just like exploring this world because it all feels so kind of magical and wondrous and like ancient because it is, but also like not ancient in the same way. And like when you finally get like walking through like where the Spartans did their 300 like last stand thing and like walked to that and having like a whole moment there, and then the first time that I went up to like finally see Athens, like I like sailed like the seas, like docked my ship into like onto a beach and like walked out and like walked up this hill basically, and there was just like this like statue of Zeus, which was like, to be fair, just like a regular sized person statue, but it was overlooking basically like this view of like Athens itself, and like the like Acropolis is like towering above the rest of the city, like smack in the middle of it, and like you can see the Parthenon like gleaming in the sky, and it was like, this is incredible, right? And like I feel like the same sense of like wonder and awe as like any average like Athenian or like Greek citizen back in the day would have felt when they first kind of climbed that hill and saw the city. It's like, this is amazing, like this is incredible, right? And like it's cool too because I feel like so often when we are shown these depictions of like kind of classical Greece, it's either kind of a war setting where things are being destroyed and kind of battles are being waged and like lives are being lost, and like that's still happening here, obviously.
Yeah, which
but,
is
like,
happening, but just not all the time, you know.
yeah, but this is much more of like, this is Greece kind of in its heyday, right? Like this is like Athens at its peak. Like its decline is right around the corner, but like it's still in it, right? Like it hasn't fallen apart yet,
Yeah.
right? And like to see, because even in like God of War games, which are amazing and rad, but like they're showing it all being ripped apart, basically.
Yes.
Like, in particular, like, they show Athens and Sparta like in ruins, and like here it's like now like this is the sky's blue and people are living their lives, and the Parthenon is standing. It's not in ruins like it is now. The city's in like standing and is doing great, right? And like I love the fact that like Pericles is like the main character guy like in Athens, who is like a real life person, like is kind of usually the case in Assassin's Creed games, and who is the guy who like built Athens. Like this game, like again, like Assassin's Creed games are games I should love for like my history thing, but like it's cool too for him where it's like he's such a like key figure in their story, and he's here and like interacting with him and like talking to him, and like he's the father of democracy, right? And like hearing him give these like civic lesson speeches, but it's like it's rad because this was the first time these kind of speeches were ever happening, right? Like he's the guy who literally like invented democracy. Like it's him being like, this thing is rad. Like let's do it, guys.
Let's vote, y'all.
Yeah, and it's cool too because I don't think like accidentally like the game takes place like basically the year before he dies, too, right? So like and again, like I think that sense of like we're coming in like the heyday of Athens, but also again it's right around the corner where like it all starts to fall apart, right?
It's
and like the
Peloponnesian War is happening, right?
And
like,
but it's the first year of it too. That's the thing. Like it's before it goes on for another 30 years and destroys Athens and like levels Greece itself, and like nobody really wins. That's the entire point of the Peloponnesian War, is that like nobody ultimately wins it, right? Like Sparta, spoiler alert for a war that happened 2,000 years ago, like Sparta wins the war, but like within 30, 40 years, Sparta's conquered too by an outside power because they just devastated each other. Right? Like they killed each other so much where like the entire country of like Greece was just like broken apart,
tore itself apart.
Like, yeah, right. And so, and there are a lot of echoes of like obviously like the American Civil War and that, right? And like the people when that happened 2,000 years later were like, hey, like this is what happened to them, or like Rome and like these kind of things, and like they just ripped themselves apart, and so like other people could come in and be like, boom. And it's cool to like hear characters start to like murmur about that, like in the streets or like you interact with, and be like, oh man, like this could go really badly. And it's like it goes terribly badly within like a century. You're like the Greek way of life is not the same anymore, right? That's the thing, like classical Greek history, this period of history that like has had such a hugely like outsized impact on the rest of the world, right? Like it is like the birthplace of like Western civilization in a lot of ways, and its impact is felt like millennia later across the globe. Lasted not even like a century. Like it didn't even last like 100 years. Like the classic Greek period of like writing and literature and plays and politics and democracy and everything. And it's like it lasted 70 to 80 years. And really like the really intense period was basically when Pericles is kicking around. So like 60, 50 years. And it's like that was it. That's all it had. And so it's like it's
one of those
amazing
things.
To see. Yeah.
It's one of those things that I would love to see your take on Origins too, because like Origins
I want to go back
is like I think it's either 54 or 64 BC, right? So it's a lot closer to the line, and it's like Egypt obviously, but there is like this Roman city kind of settling into the north, and like
Julius Caesar's in it, right?
and it's very much like you feel the Roman Empire's presence in this other place that it has not been, and it has no place to be for a lot of those people, right? It's really cool. It's like the thing is like they don't really get into that until like the literal end of the game.
Yeah.
But like they incorporate that tension And I think that's what Assassin's Creed's always been great about,
Yes.
is like incorporating historical tension into like the motivations of the characters and things like that. So
I think
it's cool.
for as much as I didn't like Assassin's Creed games throughout kind of my interactions with them, one thing that I've always like really enjoyed or admired is like how they do set these games in really cool historical worlds, and like in particular like, time periods. Like they never really hit a bad note in terms of like setting it in a really interesting place that is ripe for storytelling. They might not end up nailing that storytelling, but they always set them in really cool places where it's like there's so much potential here, right? And like I think one where it went terribly wrong was Assassin's Creed 3, where they didn't really they had I mean it's the American Revolution, like there's so much potential, but like they didn't really nail that story. But like Odyssey, they very much are, and like Origins, from everything I've heard and seen, like it feels like they did, right? And like I'm very excited to just see the rest of this game because still have so much of it left, and like so much of this
So
world to
much.
explore still. Yeah, and like I'm very excited for that. But like it's just I said it to somebody else where it's like I think it might have been George, but when we were recording like input one day, where it's like it's the game where I've just kind of fallen in love with it in a way that I haven't felt for a game in like so long. Like maybe like RE2 this year earlier, but like other than that, like nothing else. And like obviously last year there was very few games that like I just like loved. And it's like it's cool to just like fall into this game and fall into that world and like be in that time period. And like Cassandra is amazing and is rad and so cool. And I'm just and like obviously Sailing is amazing. And it's just really, really rad to just kind of spend time lost in this beautiful Greek setting.
Yeah. I would say like, because I did bring up a lot of my criticisms with it to you too, like, and to be fair, like this could change for you as well, but like,
Yeah, absolutely. I'm still very early.
yeah, like I like about at the 40-hour mark, which is similar to where I was with Origins. It was just like I love the big picture part of Odyssey, but just there were so many little things that ended up building and building and building and snowballing into problems that I had with it. Just
I can
like,
say that.
go ahead.
Yeah, like to that note, I think like the biggest issue I have is one that I've just kind of started to hit, which is so yeah, I'm 14 hours in, and for the first like 11 and a half, 12 hours of that, I was just going around like following like the main story beats, like doing side missions when I kind of follow upon them, like mainly following the thing. And then I got to that thing where, yeah, you go to Athens and Pericles gives you like, all right, cool. I hear you, man. Can you do these 3 things for me?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yeah, sure, why not? And I kind of like at the time, I think I was like level like 12 or 13. And like the things were like level 14, 14, and 17. And I was like, all right, cool. But like that's only like 1 or 2 ahead of me. And then like the 17 one is like a bit, but like it'll be fine. And yeah, I did the 14 one and I was like, boom, easy, crush that out of the park, nailed it. Did the other 14 one, boom, crush that park, nailed it. And then I went to do the 17 one. I was like, cool, like just investigate there. I can investigate the shit out of everything, man. I'm ready for this. Do that. And it's like, all right, cool. And I go kill a snake guy. And I was like, all right, cool, let's kill a snake guy. And there's the thing, like I walk up to him like level like 13, the 17 guy, and I'm like, he's 4 ahead of me. I understand, but it's like, what does that really mean? And what it meant is that
He killed
I
you.
get behind him, stealth attack him, and it took off like 10%. It was like,
A very little bit of his health.
but I was like, all right, cool, like that's fine, because like then we'll have the actual fight. And it was like he then proceeded like, and he's like poison. That's his whole shtick, because he's fucking snake guy or whatever. And like he swung at me and like took out like 75% of my health. And I was like, whoa, okay, that was a lot. And then it had, like the poison had like like corrosive effects. So I started like taking more and more down. And I was like, all right, cool, I'm gonna like backpedal out of here so that I can do like the power up where you can like get your health back, and then also give him like a hyper power charge like bow and arrow shot to like take down like a shit ton of his health.
Yeah.
And I started running away, and then basically like I do like the shot and like let it go, and it hits him, and it takes him like 5%, and I was like, oh. And then he basically, and then he like jumps across the map and just like hits me, and I'm dead, and I'm like, oh, okay, like, but now like I know, and like I can like strategize around this better, and like just keep kind of like parrying his shots, and then like get in and then like doing it, and like it'll be a grind, but I can do it kind of thing. And I go back and like I screw up the like stealth part, so he kills me. And like, all right, cool, fine.
6.5 hours later.
And then like I go back in for like that 3rd time, and like I'm just like, all right, cool. I'm just gonna bow and arrow him from far, and then let's go.
Coward's way out. Let's go. Let's get out of here.
But I was like, bow and arrow, hit him, and like I'm like, all right, cool. We're gonna run each other now. And we run, and before I can swing, I'm full health here. And he like comes at me, swings, and 1 hit kills me. And I was like, you know what? fuck this though. And then it was that thing of me being like, all right, cool, like I just need to figure some stuff out. And then it was that point of me being like, oh wait, no, this is the game's way of saying you need to grind.
Yeah, you need
And
to be
that's
a
when I
higher
was like,
level.
and I was like, this is and then there's that thing of me being like, this is frustrating. And like that was the first part. Was like, oh, I don't like this. And so like now I've just been kind of like bopping around and like I've had the 2 other games I've had to play, in particular like one that we'll talk about in a second. But like it was that thing was like Seth's kind of taken some of the momentum out, but also what's also taking the momentum out is like, man, I hate grinding. I don't like grinding in any video game. This is part of my issue with Persona and why like I know that like at some point in my life,
all JRPGs. It's
yeah,
not
but, like,
just
in some-
Persona.
but Persona is the one where like I would actually like give a shit to like put the
Yeah.
time and effort into that. But
Yeah,
it's like I know that at some time in my life I will beat Persona like
Mhm.
4 probably realistically, in 5 too I'd like to, but like it's just that thing of like I hate this. I hate the action of doing grindy shit. I don't enjoy it, right? And so it's like
there are some Persona games that are better about it than others. Like I think,
I think games in general, right?
yeah, like not all JRPGs are very grindy, but some
Yeah.
are, and like that's like their whole like Dragon Quest is very grindy, right? And that's
Yeah.
like its whole thing.
And like the issue with me is that it comes back to the thing of like what I play games for, and like I play games for like that story and to like be in that world and like that kind of thing. And like the minute it's like, cool, I'm doing this thing, and I'm going here now. It's like the game's like, hey, I just want you to stop and do other stuff instead. And me, it's just like, but why? And then it's that thing, and like, and it's that thing for me where it's like it's like the moment that like breaks the like suspension of disbelief where it's like, all right, cool, but like this doesn't make any sense in this world any longer. Where it's like I'm doing this shit for Pericles because somebody's about to come down and kill everybody here and is like trying to like assassinate Pericles and like fuck up Athens and all that shit. And I'm like, cool, I'm gonna do 2 or 3 things, Pericles, and then I'm gonna stop, leave Athens, and just go to a bunch of other shit. And it's like I know that like that's just because I could have been high level when I got here, but like there weren't that many opportunities, and it's like it could have been like this or that, but it's like, man, this is annoying because now it feels like I'm playing a video game, and that's like the least fun part of a video game. I feel like for me, where it's like, oh, now it feels like I'm playing a game, and it doesn't feel like I'm like experiencing like this story and world and like this character arc and all stuff. And it's like, it's still fun. The game's still great, but like you kind of mentioned earlier, when you hit like 40 hours, and it's like I love the big, giant, grand picture, and I don't love the smaller stuff necessarily. And it's like this is for me where it's like I don't love bouncing around from like island to island to island, not because I want to and it's fun, but because like I just have to do missions and bounties just to get like high level. And like now like I've gone up like 2 like levels, and like I can probably not get killed in one hit at least by the guy.
But that poison shit's still gonna be annoying.
Yeah, and it's that thing of like that's always gonna be annoying. And it's just a thing of like like I don't like that, right? And like it's like I've done a bunch of stuff, and it's rad. One thing I will say that like I understand why it's in the game, but like is everything is like this is frustrating for like moments like this, is that where like while you're in like a fight situation, like until you get like the power up where you can like do it itself and like pull out some of your like adrenaline meter thing, your health bar never goes back up, which is only annoying because like if you do like lose stealth basically and like you're in like a fort or something, it's like, all right, cool, like I either have to leave the fort and like run out of the zone to get my health to like kind of go back up, like to like regenerate, or I have to just kind of chill this fort with like not a lot of health and just hope I don't get caught out again, basically.
Yeah.
And like eventually get like the power up and like that helps and that's cool, but like it's still a thing of like that's kind of annoying because it like, and I think they did it because they want you to be stealthy. That's what it feels like. Like they don't want you to get into like that many like head-on fights. But the detriment to that is like it also just makes me like, man, if I do get caught and I do get hit, it just makes me want to be like, I just want to like almost die and just do this again because it's way less work than either running away to come back or just having to be like perfect now.
Yeah.
And like that can be kind of frustrating.
I'd say like that core problem that you're starting to run into is like just like the beginning of like the
What about you?
larger problem that I have with it, of like eventually, you know, now I'm at this base and half the guards are like those kind of bigger dudes that are captains, and they're all the same level as me, but I just can no longer stealth kill them. Like it only does half their health. The end, like that's the rest of the game is like that. It's like that's kind of a bummer, right? Like I really liked being able to kind of quickly move through a base, take out all the enemies methodically.
That feeling is incredible.
And
right?
it's just like it feels like the RPG numbers game is just getting in the way of me being able to do that, and there's no reason why that should be in the way. It just is, and it's frustrating. I will say, like, one thing that made the combat way better that I didn't like. There's a kind of a breaking point later in the game when you get an upgrade that every time you use one of your combat abilities, no matter what it is, you get health back.
Okay.
And that one is like so clutch because like
Yeah.
I built up. It's like, all right, I'm gonna do my special move, and doing that special move, that specific move gets me 25% health back, and then just generally using any of my special moves it's not using your special moves, it's using a block of your meter. So like I use 3 blocks of my meter, and I get 10% health back for each one of them. So I get 30% health back for using this move, and then another 30% because you use 3 meter. It's like, okay, this is kind of cool. This makes a lot more sense. It makes me feel more active in combat, but that stuff didn't start happening until much later.
Yeah. And it's weird because I think talking to you here too, it's that thing of like, I don't know. I feel like after like 10 years, roughly, maybe a little bit more, I guess, of like Assassin's Creed being a thing, I really do feel like Assassin's Creed biggest problem throughout that run has been Assassin's Creed. Like it just won't ever let itself be like what it should be. Like what like to be fair, like that's what I obviously like think, but like I think if I could do one thing to Assassin's Creed, I've always been very clear about what that one thing would be. I would say, cool.
No more future.
No reason at all to have any stuff set in the present day. It doesn't make any sense. Like anytime somebody should be like, oh no, you need to have like the animus and all that stuff. And it's like, no, just be that person. Just be that person. I don't need to be like his fucking descendant. Just be this person. They're connected because they're all assassins. It's that simple. I don't need any future stuff. It doesn't make any sense. But it also just be like, but also like even from like a gameplay mechanic wise, right, where it's like, I feel like Assassin's Creed just gets in its way in terms of like its storyline. And also in terms of like these games should just be stealth games, and like they're weird like half measures to get there. Because like even in like Origins and Odyssey, we're talking about it right now, where it's like, yeah, there get to be moments where like you're the same level as dudes, and you just hit them and it takes down half their health, and it's like cool. That would be fine if it like you took down half the health and like knocked them out or something, but you don't. You take down half their health, and now they know you're here, and it's like, all right, cool. Well, now we're fighting.
Yeah.
Except for the game isn't really like committed to being a fighting game either. Like it's very punishing as one. Again, like the health and like just fighting mechanics in general. So it's like cool, but you're not committed to this either. And so it's a weird thing of like you're great as a stealth game when you want to be one, but you don't really want to be one all the time. And when you're not a stealth game, you're only like good as a fighting game thing. So then it's like this doesn't really work either. And like it's the best it's ever been. But it's still like, man, these games, after so many iterations and after so much kind of refinement, should be better. And like, to be fair, they are getting better. Right? Like, there's like very little like present day stuff in the games now.
And like
combat mechanics have gotten better, but like
the RPG reawakening with Origins, like making it just like we're just an RPG now, it's fine. Like I think that's the right direction to go. I think it works.
Yes.
You got to refine it more, like the RPG stuff getting in the way, like I said, but it's the right direction to go. I think
they're going in the right direction. I think they're getting better. But is it thing of like
they'll get
looking
better.
At the course of the series, it's like, man, your biggest enemy is like routinely yourself. Like your biggest enemy of Assassin's Creed is like, man, I almost just want Assassin's Creed to get like out of its own way at times, where it's like this could be even like more awesome it is, because like ultimately I still really love Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I still love what this game has given me, but it's like I can see it like just off the horizon of like what it could have been or what it could be, and it's like that's really exciting, right? Like that's why I'm almost like, because obviously they're not doing one this year, like what the next Assassin's Creed game looks like.
Yeah,
but they have had time to like take in the feedback from Origins and Odyssey now too, and like hear people like loved and didn't love about them. And like that game maybe being like a really, really special game. And like ultimately I know that like they're not going to get rid of the present day stuff just because they're stubborn, which is fine. You can do whatever you want. It's your video game series. But like I do think in terms of like combat wise and stealth wise, they might take in some of the feedback they've gotten and lessons they've learned.
For sure.
And like RPG mechanics too, and like not make it quite as like brutally grindy in stretches. And I'm excited for that. Also just like where that game would be. Is exciting to think about.
Yeah, I don't know. Them taking another year off is good, and I'm excited to see what next year's game is. Like at this point, like Odyssey and Origins have at least got me excited enough that like I feel justified in looking forward and
I
being
care,
excited for
right?
that
I
game.
care about Assassin's Creed in the first time really ever like I'm actually like I want to play Origins after this. Like, and I want to leap into whatever the next one is. I'm like, I've been thinking about like, man, should I go back to the old ones? I'm like, ultimate answer is no, I
Nope.
won't because yeah, but I will do Origins and I will be excited for whatever they do next.
Yeah. Outside of the Call of Duty, you've been playing anything else?
Not really. It has just been like, or I mean, Odyssey has just been so in my mind. Like, it's that thing of like, especially like the first like week or two where like I would be at work. It was like one of those games where like when I wasn't playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey, I was thinking about playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Like it like totally captured me in a way that again like I haven't felt in so long, and it was rad. Like it was such a great feeling. Like I was like, man, I love video games. They're rad, guys.
Yeah. Tony, video
Hey.
games. What you got?
So I've played a couple video games.
Okay.
I played several rounds of Super Mario Maker 2.
Me too.
Ooh.
Any good levels?
I don't know. I'm still just kind of playing the endless challenge and just going through getting what. Though I need to start doing this because I want to make a level, but the level that I want to make, I need an item that you by beating the story.
Okay. It doesn't seem like
So-
the story's that long, I'll say.
Yeah, I started it and I did like the first couple levels.
Mm-hmm.
I just need to like sit down and do it.
Yeah, I think I've done I think there's 65 levels you have to beat the story, and I've done like 34 of them, just chipping away.
I've done like 2. So.
Nice. You're getting there, is what you're saying.
Yeah. I want one of the items for
Dude, what item is it? Do you mind sharing?
the Super Ball flower.
Oh yeah, the Mario 2 thing.
Mm-hmm.
I played a pretty clever, like I was doing some endless challenge too. I played a pretty clever level with the that item where you were like in a like little boxed in area and you had to like throw the Super Ball at POW blocks to like eliminate enemies that were in front of like the exit pretty much.
Right.
It was cool.
Yeah, I think there's some cool shit that you can do with that. I've got a couple ideas. So I want to build something, but I need that item to do it. So
Gotcha.
I've just kind of been, I haven't had a lot of time to play video games in the first place. That's kind of what I've been doing when I have time. Other than that, just some run-of-the-mill League of Legends.
Are you playing more teamfight tactics now, or are you just playing League?
But so throughout like the last week, it's been like if I have time, we might play like one game of League or like a game or two of teamfight tactics. But like between the time of me getting home and me going to bed. Though today, since I've had some time, I've just been kind of chilling at my house. And I've played like 9 games of ranked League, which I haven't done in like a year.
Hell yeah, dude.
Just because, I don't know.
You triple diamond platinum rank yet?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, dude. I don't know how rankings work in League of Legends, clearly. Cool.
Yeah, I think I played like 10 games, only lost 1.
Nice.
It's pretty cool.
Playing your boy, Aurelian Soul, I assume.
Some of them. I started playing with like the guy who was like seemed pretty good in one of the games who I played.
Mm-hmm.
And he plays a lot of Twitch, which is like the go invisible, AD carry guy. And he was like, "Hey, can you play Lulu and support me?" Because Twitch Lulu is this really disgusting lane where Twitch gets like a shield, extra attacks on his attacks, and extra movement speed and attack speed with Lulu buffing him. So you just follow the Twitch around as Lulu and buff the shit out of him, and you can basically 1v9. So that's what we've been doing, and it's been pretty successful.
Nice. That's good to hear. Anything else?
Nope, that's it.
I played a few things. I feel like I've been like weirdly bouncing around a lot, which I talked about last week. I wanted to take a moment to say I got another Apex Legends win. I think this is my 4th win. So again, not a big deal to some people here. Big deal to Alex O'Neal, though.
I just want to say that one, Alex O'Neal out here, big guy, big winner, big guns. Alex O'Neal out here, not playing Apex Legends with me and Jarrett Green. We're still looking for our first win. You know what I mean?
Ooh, let me know.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it was a thing of somebody, Blessing was on and he asked me to play, and that's the only reason I got on.
I love Apex. I haven't played it in probably like a month or so now, but me and Jarrett looking for that first win. We've gotten second place so many times, it's absurd.
Yeah, I know, Logan, when you and I have played, we've gotten second place so many times. It's the most frustrating thing.
Yes.
And so like the match that we won, I think Bless ended up highlighting. He was streaming for OK Beast at the time. I think he ended up highlighting it out. It was me, Blessing, and Andrew Taylor, and it was like the most intense match.
Yeah.
Like just like the last 2 minutes of like we were in a tower and these two teams, like this one team came up and there was 3 teams left. We managed to kill the one team, but we had no time to heal or prepare ourselves. And the next team came up and we just literally had to throw everything we had against them, and we just barely scraped it. Like 2 of us went down, and then I think Andrew got the final kill.
Is that me and Jarrett? I think might have been the day where like Scott played with us for like we like all played together for like literally like 7-8 hours of just playing Apex one day. And it was the 3 of us, we were in like the final like 4 or 5 3 squads kind of thing, 2 squads, and we got to like the circle's like tiny now kind of thing. And I don't know, at some point in time like Scott like got knocked out and Scott was gone. It was me and Jarrett, and we basically got to the point where like me and Jarrett was like this, because the circle's like 10 feet now, and we're basically like backed up into the corner with things, so our backs are against the wall so nothing can come from behind us, and we was just like facing ahead basically. And it was, I think it was 2 on like 2 or 2 on 3 kind of thing, and like we actually like took out like one of their 2 of the guys, and so it was down to just like 2 and 1, so it was us 2 against like one of their guys. Jarrett went too far ahead basically for me, and then had to like reload his gun. And the time he was reloading the gun, the guy jumped down, shot and killed Jarrett. So then it was 1-on-1, and then the guy, because the guy like killed him, like popped out. So it's 1-on-1. It's me and the other guy. My back's to the wall, but I was like, "Fuck, do I do it? And like, do I do it? I just say like, "Fuck you, Jarrett." And I was like, I'll edge closer to Jarrett to like see like maybe something can happen here. And in that time, that guy like jumps down, and like we just get to like this like final firefight where like we're each doing damage on the other person, and then it's the thing of like, oh fuck, there's also still the wall just still happening thing too. And so the wall just like engulfs all of us basically at the same moment as we're shooting each other, and the guy kills me and die, and I'm like, fuck, like we had it.
I was there. I saw the victory.
The wall was there. Jarrett, you just had to reload your gun, man. You just had to have max ammo, huh? It was a tumultuous, chaotic, screaming, like few minutes of all just us like yelling and shouting like, we got it, and then nothing happened.
Yeah.
But also the time where the wall literally, me and Jarrett, I think this might have been like our second or third match ever playing together, where we were like, we didn't know what the fuck we were doing still, and we're just like cowards way out. So we basically got in, immediately dropped from the ship, like landed in some building, and we're like, this is our building.
We die here.
Yeah, and I swear to God, the circle kept getting like smaller and smaller and smaller. We're like, it's still fine. It's still us. We're still in the circle. To where like literally at the end of the game, there were 2 squads left. It was us and one other squad, and the circle was literally just our building. Like we never left that building the entire game. There's always a building, and we definitely still lost.
Of course,
but it was a thing of like it was only a 3rd game, so we're like, cool, we're happy we're second place, never having to leave a building. But never got to win yet. We need your guidance. We need you to.
I am not
show off your superior Apex Legends skills. The true legend that is Alexander Montgomery Burns O'Neill.
Still not my middle name.
Guide us to victory.
Pretty close
here.
though.
It's not even. Like M is like the letter next to L, I guess, and that's about as close as it gets.
My apologies, Alex. Montgomery Burns.
Montgomery. Sounds like the name of an airport.
I feel like it sounds
the
like
Alex Montgomery Burns Memorial Airport.
You're like the 4th son of like an aristocratic family, or they just like have to like reach from their names at that point in time that sound fancy still.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
But Alex is still my first name.
Yes.
So I played Apex. Some cool stuff in season 2. Some new hop ups, new guns, kind of rebalancing some things that I had not played season 2 yet. New character seems cool. I've not gotten a player because I do not have.
It's still just the one map, right?
Still the one map, but there are dinosaurs on it now, which is cool. The dinos are out in the wild, and then there are. What's cool is the little pterodactyl looking guys will swoop down and attack you at random.
Oh, that's awesome.
If you kill them, they drop like a death box that has random loot in it, which is really cool. I love ads in games like this, right? I think like I've not played a lot of Blackout, but like the idea of like zombies being kind of loose on that map is really cool, especially in certain areas. But also like the stuff in the original Titanfall that Respawn had done before of like having ads in the game as well to kind of grind out points to summon your Titan and stuff like that. I think it's really cool and clever. So that being in some way incorporated into Apex with the wildlife is really rad. You can fly right into the big dinos. They're gigantic. They're humongous. I'm not trying to land on one because I was told I shouldn't, but we'll see. Maybe someday. But yeah, I'd peeked into Apex for the first time in a while. The game is still great. I still really enjoy it.
Yeah.
I played through Mega Man Legends this week.
Yeah, okay. I saw that and made me very curious.
On the PlayStation 1 Classic on my PS3 for no reason. I just wanted like an adventure game. I've never played Mega Man Legends. Like I
haven't either.
I've played the beginning of it because it was like my brother's game, and I watched him play all the way through it, and I had no fucking idea what was going on in this game. Let me tell y'all about like post-apocalyptic Earth where the water level has risen and it's just small islands everywhere, and they go into ancient ruins on all these small islands to gather ancient refractor artifacts that they're like energy sources, which does not seem like a good like renewable energy source option. Similar thing they did in Tales of Vesperia. I don't know why Japanese RPGs are like so caught up on like digging up ancient power resources and then just consuming them. But I guess that is like the
didn't learn any lessons.
The human condition. So, but I really liked it. Like I played it front to back. It's about like I think it took me 15 hours to go through it, but it's like a 10-hour game maybe. I just like had it idle for a couple hours. And it was cool because I tried to play that game so much as a kid, but I had no fucking idea what I was doing because I didn't read, I didn't listen, and I skipped all the cutscenes because I was a child.
Sure.
And I was bad at reading. But
can we back up for a second?
Yeah, please.
Just to iterate how much I don't understand that.
That I would just not like,
because I had the opposite experience because it was. I had trouble in elementary school in sort of keeping up. The level of reading that you kind of needed for games back then was relatively high because no voice acting whatsoever.
Yeah. And
that is what helped me learn.
Yeah. I think
so I had beautiful. Like that was I had the complete opposite experience there.
I don't know. I think I was just like adamant. I was just like a hyper kid, right? Like I was just trying to skip through it to get to the next thing I could do. And I don't know, I didn't understand as a kid. Like I don't know where the turning point happened where I started like really sitting and reading through games and like actually paying attention. Obviously, like story in games is so important to me now. It's a wonder I was ever like this. But there was a time, like when I'm 7 years old, where I just want to shoot Mega Man's dumb blaster and go explore dungeons. But like I'll say like sitting through.
I mean that much I understand.
Okay, fair enough.
That much I understand.
Going through Legends again in particular, like there was so much I remembered seeing from when I was a kid and playing through, like specifically the beginning that I'm sure I played through 6 or 7 times because I never got past a certain point because I would always get lost. But like knowing what's going on and knowing what to do, it's like a very simple, very straightforward game. Just reiterating how dumb a kid I was. Can't emphasize this enough. I've gotten better at least, but mostly it's cool. It's a very weird story. It's like there's like stuff that kind of comes into play at the very end. Like there's this giant satellite that can like has like an eradication device on it that can kill all humanity.
Obviously,
that's just there, and it kind of comes down to the surface toward the end, and it's like tensions are high. And it's like then it leaves and all is good, and the little monkey that you've been saving with the whole time ends up being some kind of special droid assigned to Mega Man Volnut to protect him after he leaves the underground. Because Mega Man turns out one of these ancient artifacts from underground, which is revealed to you at the very end of the game.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, spoilers. 1997 game. But like Mega Man Legends being the take on like the Zelda kind of take on Mega Man, it's cool. It's cool seeing this kind of more open worldy ish adventure game where it's a lot about going and talking to people, solving quests, going down into dungeons, getting new weapons and upgrades, powering up and your old weapons and stuff like that. It's cool. It's a very like the thing that surprised me is how like very simple the game is. Like there's 4 stats. You can equip 2 and at a later point 3 like things that'll upgrade those stats, but you can only have 3 of those on at a time. So you have to kind of, do you want your shots to fire faster, or do you want them to be more powerful, or do you want them to go further? It's like, okay, I have to balance my character out with the equipment that I'm getting, and like the side quests are like very much like, go find this thing and bring it back to me. It's very simple. But there's a charm to it. It's just a very positive game too. Like everyone's super friendly in that game, and everyone's super nice. Even the villains are like silly and friendly. It's cool. It was. I'm glad I went and played it. It's weird to have this future perspective on it. And I'm probably gonna play Mega Man Legends 2 at some point. The real thing I think I've been spending the most time with this week is Destiny 2, which I talked about a little bit last week. I think I kind of got everything out I wanted to say about it. We did a stream of it last Sunday, a week ago. I have that downloaded, so that's probably going to be archived on YouTube at some point. It was a lot of fun. We got 5 people together. We didn't manage to get all 6. But we went to the Menagerie, which is... It's cool. The Menagerie is like a new 6-player space where before the only kind of 6-player spaces were either competitive multiplayer or a raid, but now you can have people just kind of hang out and do pretty low intensity things, like fighting these bosses and doing these kind of, they remind me a lot of public events in that game, but there are secrets hidden throughout. You know, it's a new part of the Leviathan that we haven't seen before, and it is there are a lot of fun like challenges in there and secrets in there, and there are hidden challenges to each combat encounter. But it was cool to like have a group to go into that for the first time, even though it's totally a thing you could just jump into with randos. And we're hopefully going to get grouped together and play one of the raids that we've missed. The Scourge of the Past, and then there's a new one with the Season of Opulence, but I forget what it's called. But yeah, Destiny 2, like I've been checking in on that almost every day, just playing a couple dailies and playing a couple missions just to get a couple pieces of powerful gear every day, and that's been really fun. It's been nice to have like a kind of comfort food game.
Yeah.
I didn't play a lot of A Plague Tale this week, but I talked about it a little bit last week. I just wanted to open it up if you had any questions about it, Logan.
Yeah, because you've pitched it to me as a game that I would really dig.
Mm-hmm. I think you would like it. Like it's cool. It takes place in the 14th century France. These two, brother and sister, kind of running away after tragedy kind of befalls their family, and also there's a plague going on, killing everybody. It's they play with some really cool stuff in that game. It's weird because I think a lot of it they don't get to the finish line on, but I haven't finished the game yet, so I don't quite know. But like, you know, like there is like this one scene where you're going through a battlefield that English and French troops fought on, and you're just walking over these piles of corpses, and it's very there's an eeriness to that game that's really powerful. I think it's a time period that I think hasn't really been touched on in games. There's cool mechanical stuff in there that I didn't expect. Like you have a sling, which is like kind of like I don't know what like a sling, like what to compare a sling to. It's like a throwing sock to hurl rocks at people.
Sure, yeah.
But it's pulled taut enough that you can fucking hit somebody in the head with this and kill them. So like, you know, there is a way to like kill enemies if necessary, right? But there are also other things you can put in your sling, like these alchemical things that you learn from these alchemists you meet along the way. Like one you can throw into like a horde of rats and it'll make them scatter and give you a second to pass. One you can throw at the helmet of a guard that's wearing a helmet, and it overheats the helmet, so they have to rip it off, so that way you can hit them in the head with a sling and kill them. And there's one that you can make that'll knock people out, or protect you if you're about to get killed. But that one, it takes a lot of rare materials to make, so it's one thing that you probably don't want to be wasting stuff on all the time. It's a cool, and then between sections, you will find a workbench in a very Last of Us type way where you can upgrade certain items and kind of progress as like a character and have more things available to you. It's cool. Like I talked about kind of the core of it last week. I've really enjoyed my time with it. It also looks very good.
What, like, of this kind of game genre do you think, like, do you see like shades of like Brothers or Inside, or like what kind of game do you think it's most similar to?
It is 100% Last of Us. The more I've gotten into it, it is like very much channeling that energy of like you are. There's like a little bit of other stuff on there too that's rad. But like, you know, you're an adult character with a child character that you have to kind of protect and carry with you. The thing is, like, that child character is obviously a lot more helpless, and there's a lot less combat. It's a lot more about avoiding combat.
Yeah.
Which you can play The Last of Us as, but you have guns, you have things. In this game, you don't really have a lot of resources to get yourself out of dodge. But in the way the workbench works is like 1-to-1 with The Last of Us. Like, you'll kind of get to a point in the story where like it'll say saving checkpoint, and you're like, this seems like a kind of safe area. I bet if I look around, there's a workbench around the corner, and then there's some tools that I can use to craft an upgrade. And that feels good. Like, I think they hit that pacing really well. The only thing is, like, there are a lot of times in this game where you'll have like a third companion character, sometimes even a fourth companion character, and some of them have unique ability. Like, one of them is like she's a thief, so she can pick locks. So you can have order her to pick a lock for you and get into a chest or get through a door. But most of that is like you have to do that to progress. So it's not exactly not exactly like optional or feels like an extra or hidden thing. It's just part of the main line. The one thing I'll say is like there are a lot of really cool environmental puzzles that I guess like I would maybe compare to like an Inside or a Limbo of like kind of moving objects around to manipulate the environment and let you progress. It's nothing too crazy. Some of them have been pretty clever, but a lot of that has to do with like the rats, like these plague rats that cover the whole floor and are afraid of light, and obviously you can't progress. So it's a lot of like knocking down a torch and then lighting the torch on the ground, and now it's like a safe area that I can pass, or putting a light on a wagon and then pushing the wagon through a field full of the rats, and now like there's a safe area around that and stuff like that. It's cool.
Yeah, very neat. I want to check it out.
Yeah, I would say if like you had the opportunity to like Redbox it or something, just to know whether or not you're gonna land with it.
How much is the game otherwise?
It's $50. I got it on sale for $35. And I know it's on sale right now on PSN for $35. So if that's enough for you to jump on it, I would go for it. It's cool. I like it starts pretty slow. But once, like I would say at the 5-hour mark or so, like once you get the sling upgraded that you can protect yourself, and then once you start getting the different alchemy things that you can use to get around the environment a little bit more cleverly, it really hits a nice stride. I just haven't had time to go back to it this week.
Yeah.
Because for reference, friend of the show, Brant Ranch was in town. Wednesday through Friday, so I
of Rash Passion's greatest Let's Play series of all time, DK64.
Honestly, so Brant and I did a stream where he we have to archive it somewhere, or you can go watch it on our Twitch past broadcast. Mike Burgess made a Mario Maker 2 level that is like particularly maniacal, and Brant Ranch spent we were gonna hand off the controller every 5 lives to play it, and after he died 5 times on that level, he's like, this is the next 2 hours, and I hope you're ready for that. And he's like very upset playing that whole level for 2 hours straight. And if you like the Donkey Kong 64 Let's Play, felt a lot of that same energy in that moment. So the only other thing I'm playing is Call of Duty World at War, which I know you've been playing too, Logan. At some point, I feel like we're gonna have a good forum to talk about it. But that's a weird game, dude.
Yeah, it's strange because obviously yeah, it's a weird ass. That's the thing.
It's
Like
so hard to like put into words what is weird about it. But
everything, yeah, it's like almost a thing of like everything about this just feels weird.
and old, like very
But
old.
like not even necessarily bad old. Like some of it I think works
Yeah.
well, but like it's just a strange, and it's interesting too because I feel like it's like one of the few Call of Duty games that like feel like you're playing two separate games almost, right? Because like the two separate like storylines are so removed, are so like even like almost like tonally different. I feel like in a lot of ways, and also it's so different how like successful they are in carrying out like what they're about. It's just a weird ass video game of like great moments and then like loser decisions.
Yeah. And it's like there's so much in the campaign that I've been playing that is like so right, like voice
Yeah.
actors that you would recognize and are very
Yes.
cool.
Gary Oldman, yeah,
But
Kiefer
like
Sutherland.
they're maybe not like used the best way. You know, it's you know, it's a 2008 video game. It feels a
Yeah.
lot like a 2008 video game.
Yeah.
What's cool was I got to go online and play some multiplayer because there's
Ooh.
still people playing multiplayer for that game.
Hell yeah.
Which I did not like. And then
Do you use zombies or actual multiplayer?
actual multiplayer, and then I got into some zombies matches, which was fun.
Yeah.
It was super nostalgic to go back and play those.
I will say that's the big thing. Like the very very first like Russian mission in the game opens with like the music from like zombies, and I was like, holy
it's
shit!
weird too, and it's like, are we gonna see some zombies here?
It was like that hit, and I was like, I had never noticed that before. Like that, the like really like all of the soundtrack for the Russian campaign is basically just like Nazi music. I mean, Nazi music, Nazi zombie music, and I was like, this is such a trip. Like this is such like nostalgic. Like I'm falling back into like 2008 and 9 and 10 and 11, just like playing Nazi zombies again and again and again. Like that the soundtrack is rad. I'll give it that.
Yeah, it's super cool. There's some good moments. There's like also some
Yes.
moments where like some very intense guitar plays. I'm like, I don't know how this fits.
Yeah.
It's
It's a
weird.
strange-
It's just weird, you know. It's a weird
It's
game.
a weird video game. It is a weird like it. I don't even know like what like a good like I want to think about like what like a good like MCU equivalent of just like this isn't bad at all. It's just weird. It's so much weirder than like anything else within that series. I feel like, and it just is such a bizarre video game.
Yeah, I'm with you. That's really all I've been playing though. Do you guys want to take a break, or do you guys want to go right into our next segment? What do you want to do?
Up to you guys.
Let's take a break real quick,
Taking a break.
so I can run to the bathroom. Not sugarcoat it. But when we come back, we have just one bit of news that I wanted to share with y'all, mostly Scott here. And then we will answer a couple of questions and make some bets and get out of here. So we will be back in just a little bit. All right, we are live again. Hello, everybody. Welcome back.
Oh.
It is time.
I want you to know that when I first was on this podcast many moons ago, I
You're like,
thought-
what the fuck is that?
I thought that was Alex O'Neill who did that.
It is.
It is.
Is it you?
Yeah.
Oh, then we've come full circle here.
Who did you think it was?
Yeah, heads up. That's Alex.
We've come through the singularity here.
Yeah, it's we've time is repeating itself. This
That
is the
first
loop.
one, I was like, oh man, that's a really great, like, Alex is a voice actor kind of thing here. And then I was on a second time, I was like, oh, that's not Alex. And then for the next 15 years, I was like, oh, that's not Alex. That's not Alex.
Yeah, we keep joking,
There
but
15 years, definitely.
Irrational Passions is 9 years old. So like
I
we're
was
gonna
going to
start
say, we're not that far off.
we're gonna
Not
start
that far off.
throwing that around, and it's gonna be too real. So like 6 years ago, we were fucking talking about League of Legends too. I mean, this is the world we live in. Only one bit of news here that I pulled. Maybe other things happened. They weren't as important. San Diego Comic-Con's going on. A lot of movie news if you're into that thing. Luigi's Mansion 3 has a release date. It's October 31st, which is perfect.
Very exciting.
So this is more of like a for your information, Scott Guthier. Luigi's Mansion 3 will be out on October 31st. I will be there. You will be there. It will be fun.
Hey, you know what else comes out this week?
What comes out this week? Fire Emblem, baby!
Yeah, dude.
Three Houses. Tony and I are gonna be talking about fucking waifus next week. If y'all,
Yeah, dude. I already know.
oh, you
which
know,
house I'm going.
okay.
You know how I made my decision? I looked up the wiki for list of Fire Emblem characters, and I picked the cutest girl.
Hell yeah! I have not decided yet. I'm gonna try and decide in the moment, but I should probably do that because
I don't really care about her political views. Because most of the time in the Fire Emblem games, like
she's a
they're
communist.
all very distinctly political, you know, and they're for their very specific political goals.
Yeah.
So, it doesn't matter to me, honestly.
Next week,
always significance put aside.
I can see behind your totalitarian viewpoint here and say that, you know what, maybe we do need more dictators in the world because you're my cute wife.
You're my cute
That's what I'm
wife.
saying, dude.
Next week, when Tony and I are married to communists.
I was gonna say, yeah. So we're bringing back the Soviet Union, guys.
Yeah,
Good news.
excellent. I played Call of Duty World at War campaign, and now I'm bringing back the Soviet Union. But Luigi's Mansion, October 31st, very exciting.
Very
Looks
exciting
great.
news.
Are you getting in on that, Logan?
I love Luigi's Mansion.
Oh, nice. I was not sure. I love the first one. Never played Dark Moon. I should. I want to.
I know Mike is a huge fan of it. He's very excited for it.
Yeah. This is like perfect October game. Great.
Yeah.
I'm excited it's coming out on Halloween.
Yeah.
It's a good game to kind of settle into the night with that one. Mm-hmm. So I know Mike is definitely going to stream some Halloween games again this year, and I think George is going to get on that with him too. But this will be a fun way to cap off the month. That's it for news. Just the one. Let's take a peek in the mail sack. Remember, you can be a part of the show in a variety of ways. You can email us. You can send us an email, mailsack@irrationalpassage.com. You can tweet us at irrationalpod. Use hashtag IPQ. You can tweet it at alfighter27 as well. I will get it.
You can tweet it at OKB, so read our questions too.
Don't tweet our questions at OKBs.
Hashtag IPQ.
I mean, I guess you could. And you can leave us a voicemail, 404-590-1337. I told Brant that we listened to his voicemail exactly one calendar year later, and he got a good guffaw out of that one. We got a question from George Cruz. I don't know if it's a question, but, well, I guess it is. He says, George Switch report, yo, ARMS is all right. Why does everyone dunk on ARMS? It's like a weird Dreamcast arcade fighter, and I feel like George just answered his own question in that tweet.
I was gonna say that's why they dunk on it. Yeah.
I don't know. Scott, have you played ARMS?
ARMS, no, but I have played plenty of those Dreamcast fighters, and I understand why people dunk on it.
Yeah,
but
like,
at the same time, it's a they're not strictly bad.
Yeah.
No.
There's a quirkiness to them.
It's just that, like,
Yeah.
to a degree, they're fairly bland for what they are.
Yeah, and I think
Yeah.
that's a really apt way to describe ARMS too.
Arms, yeah.
I like ARMS. Like I think weirdly the controls for that game work better than they have any right to. You know, but it feels imperfect when you play it. You know, and sometimes the controls don't always work. Some of the things you have to use both Joy-Con at once to kind of maneuver around, and that stuff just never feels good. But I don't know. I like ARMS in concept.
Yeah.
I don't know, and I certainly love the look of it, but it's a little rough, you know.
It's beautiful. I think you can hit the head on the nail for me, where it's ARMS is better than it is any right to be. The issue being that it still is only good. That game is just it's a weird video game, just like World of War. It's a weird ass video game.
Yeah.
And
I'll say this, I'm so happy ARMS exists, right? It seems like such a fun experiment.
Some people love that game.
Yeah. But it's just an odd thing. And also I know a big problem a lot of people have with is there's not a lot of content in it.
Yeah, after the fact, yeah.
I know they put out a lot of free stuff for it, like characters and whatnot, but I know out the gate it was a pretty lax. I'm curious, George, if you're listening, 'cause I know he does listen every week, but if you sank more time into it, if your opinion on it has changed at all. Other question, shout out to the IP editorial staff from Quentin Hoffman. What is y'all's favorite soundtrack of the year? I was re-listening to Cadence of Hyrule soundtrack and it bangs real hard. I gotta download that soundtrack wherever it is.
That's because Danny B did that shit.
Hell yeah, he did.
That's an interesting question.
That's a good question. Tony, do you have any soundtracks so far that stand out to you?
From this year specifically, I don't know if there are any this year soundtracks that are really on top of my mind right now.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. Yeah, the Cadence of Hyrule soundtrack is up there for me for sure right now. It's very memorable. It's just it's good listening. I'm trying to think of or go through. I do have a.
I'm trying to do my list of games from this year. Yeah.
I made a Google Doc of all the games that I've played this year because I'm trying to be keep my thoughts more coherent. Yeah. That and I want to know how many games I've purchased this year. That's a big stat that I'm tracking there. The Messenger DLC has really great music. I'll say just like the original Messenger. Bloodstained actually has really rad music. It's very Castlevania, which is I showed up for that. Katana Zero has some a dope soundtrack.
Yeah, it does.
Because Billy something I can't remember his name, but he actually made some music for a game jam that I listened to years ago, and it was became some of my favorite writing music. And he actually did the music or part of the soundtrack for Katana Zero. And all of that has been super good. You know what doesn't have very good music? Rage 2.
It checks out.
Anthem also doesn't have very memorable music. Oh, and Kingdom Hearts 3 has an incredible soundtrack. Legit incredible. Anything stand out for you, Logan?
I think Resident Evil 2 remake. I like what it does.
Super
I think, yes, I think that's one that immediately jumped out to me when this question was asked. I think honestly, I know it's a weird one, but I think World of War soundtrack is really rad. Especially the Russian campaign stuff. I think it works very well for that story. I think the American one isn't as effective, but the Russian campaign soundtrack, those and part of it definitely is I'm mad nostalgic for it, but those beats are super effective and just super atmospheric and haunting anytime their music kicks up in that game as well.
I think it just didn't stand out enough for me for that.
Fair,
but
totally fair.
I was also dying a lot and pretty frustrated through a lot of large portions of the game, so that doesn't help.
But I would say Resident Evil is the one that
Resident Evil's very good.
Yeah, it's very good.
You got any, Scott? Any soundtracks stand out to you?
Specifically from this year, I'm gonna have to say no.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get to a Cadence of Hyrule yet.
Yeah. Once you and Tony get on that, I think.
I think I'm gonna download that in the next 5 minutes. So
Fuck.
I just forgot about it.
I know. I'm trying to keep reminding you about it. I know both of you guys will really like it. So, yeah, there's some good callouts. Cadence is a great callout. That's like there's like enough like there's some real good like rock in that soundtrack too, like blaring guitars that is just really cool. The Gerudo Desert in Cadence of Hyrule. Ugh, fuck me up, fam. There's the only 2 questions I pulled. I'm still kind of putting off doing our trivia game until Nabeshin gets back. But I'm sitting on it. Silver PR, I know you're out there. He popped in the chat for just a moment to say hi. We love you very much, but I want to make sure we're all here for some quality video game trivia questions. Shout out to Jared Green also who popped in the chat to point out that Logan is wearing glasses on his head twice.
Mm-hmm. I was wearing sunglasses, Jared.
Yeah, these glasses are for the sun, and the glasses are for me. That's the end of the show. Thanks everybody for hanging out. A couple of things before we close it out. If you like this show, you can follow Irrational Passions as a whole and more on Twitter, Irrational Pod, Instagram, Irrational Passions. A lot of cool stuff on both places. Some other stuff, rate and review us on iTunes and Stitcher, or wherever you listen to the show, if it's Google Play or Spotify or wherever. Check out some of our other shows like Input, episode 100 this week.
Episode 100, yeah.
Very exciting. That's Friday, correct?
It'll go like Friday at 9 a.m.
And a Video Game Book Club, which in the midst of Sonic 06, I think they are recording their part 3 this week. It's either
tomorrow, I think, actually.
It's either tomorrow or Thursday. Either way, you might have missed it by the time you hear this, but that will continue on, and the part 3 will be up next week, and then part 4 of Sonic is the last part, and then we're moving on to whatever comes next. Which I don't know what that is yet. I'm excited to find out.
Yeah, Jared's in picking.
Jared's picking, so we'll see. And then for everything else, Irrational Passions, irrationalpassions.com is the place to be. We're at the end of the show, which means, Tony, it's time for bets.
Hey, I like those.
I like bets too. This week's bet. So tell me if this is a good one. I can change it. I have a backup if you guys don't like it. But I liked it. I thought it was cool. Or clever. Or whatever, I thought. In the YouTube description for the launch trailer for Wolfenstein Youngblood, how many times will the word Nazi be used?
3.
Now, does that mean you want to stick with that? You think this is an acceptable bet?
Yeah, I think it's fine.
Okay. No other complaints from the peanut galleries.
Yeah, I got no problems.
Scott, what do you think? See, Logan just let his instinct take over. That's truly how you do it. Also, I want to take a minute.
I'm going with 5.
Oh, 5. I like it. I want to take a minute and shout out our friend and friend of the show, Mr. Barrett Courtney.
Barrett Courtney.
He is currently watching My Hero Academia for the first time on Nabeshin and my recommendation on Twitter. And he's loving it.
Hell yeah. It's some good shit.
That's some good shit right there. Tony?
1.
I'm gonna say 2. I feel like that was the one I had written before. I feel like it could be 1 or 2. There's a possibility.
That's why I said 3. I think it's gonna be low.
Yeah, I don't know. It depends. Like if it's a 2-paragraph one, I feel like Logan, you got it in the bag, or maybe even Scott. But if it's like just like a very brief description, like 1 sentence, maybe we'll see. I don't know. Last week's bet: how many helmets will be on the back of the Avengers Ultimate? I put Avengers. It's Ultimate Alliance, Marvelous Ultimate Alliance box.
Ooh. Can I guess before you say the answer?
Yeah, I'm gonna calculate the answer. Shout out to Scott White for sending me a picture of the box. What do you think it'll be, Logan? How many helmets on the back of the box?
What did everybody else say?
I said 6. Scott said 4. George said 2.
I'm actually gonna go. I was gonna go higher than 6. I'm gonna say I'm I'm gonna say 8. That's what I originally was gonna say. I'm gonna say 8.
Okay, I imagine we're not counting hoods as helmets. So 1, 2, 3, 4. No, that counts. 4, 5. It's the Wolverine mask. I would count that as it's all over the helmet, kind of like Captain America's. 4, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Hmm.
9.
Yeah, heck yeah.
That is a lot. Thank you again, Scott White, for sending me the picture. So 9 means I take it. Taking it for the about to bust a bet, boys. Brings our total up to 22. Team doubling down, 20 points. Still. Team Super Pink Girl Power, which is the name of the editorial team, 3 points. But we've got to wait for you guys to catch up. So your points are worth more, basically, Logan, if you get it.
Hey.
So,
Okay, yeah.
I mean, fingers crossed.
I'm
Logan,
feeling good with 3. Good with that.
Logan, do you want to change the name of your team?
What's the name of it again?
Super Pink Girl Power.
Who made the name of the team?
I believe Jess made this name. It's changed
Super
multiple
Pink
times.
Girl- Oh, has it?
Yeah, but the editors are allowed to change it every time.
Super Pink Girl Power. Gosh, what should we? Honestly, though, like I don't hate Super Pink Girl Power.
That's what
That's the
everyone
thing.
has said. George said that last week too. Yeah, I don't know. It's got a ring to it.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like I'm proud to stand behind Team Super Pink Girl Power.
Hell yeah, I'm in.
Pink's underrated color, man.
Pink is a great color. Shout out to Logan's
right?
pink Converse that he is
And my stone dreams. Yeah.
the most in love with.
Yeah.
Thank you everybody so much for listening. Thanks to everybody who jumped in the chat, watched us live. Appreciate you very much. Thank you to Danny Wiesner for opening music of Two Player Co-op and our closing music of The World Is Saved, respectively. Boy, turns out he is also very excited for Thor: Love and Thunder, much like myself.
Yeah. It's gonna be great.
It's gonna be great. You know who's gonna really enjoy that movie? Cameron Abbott.
I was there at Extra Life 2017. I remember those Thor Ragnarok.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Scott, for joining me as always. Thank you, Nabeshin, wherever you are. He had plans today, but he sends his love. Thank you, Logan, of course, for coming on. It's good to have you on again. Obviously, we'll have you on more frequently in the future.
Mm-hmm.
And thank you all again. I love you all very much. I've been your host, Alex O'Neill. Play your games, stay rational. We will talk to you all next week.
Bye.
Titles? I wrote
Titles.
a couple down here.
I also want you guys to know that Cadence of Hyrule is downloading right now.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I'm excited to hear your thoughts next week, man.
So we got Slaughterhouse Scott, Scott D. Salinger, and
Both were good.
Alexander Lamont Montgomery.
Yeah, I'm
of
just
the House
saying,
of
man. I'm just saying, man.
These are all Logan titles. No, I said Slaughterhouse Scott. Logan said Scott D. Salinger. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What's his name? What's the guy's name? Something.
I'm sorry that I'm creative, Alex. Right?
No, you're beautiful just the way you are. Don't you ever
Thank
change.
you.
Maybe like if somebody has like a preferred name that they want to go by, but
Alexander Lamont Montgomery O'Neill is fucking hilarious. When he's the title of this episode.
I really like Slaughterhouse Scott. It's a play on Slaughterhouse 5, which is the only.
Oh, is that what it's a play on, Alex?
It's the only book by that author that I've ever read. I really
That's
like it.
because
Though.
you don't need to read Catcher in the Rye. You're fine.
Oh, I've read Catcher in the Rye. That's right.
You don't need to though.
I don't need to. You don't need to.
You don't really need that much of Salinger.
I liked it, but I'm not in the full haterade camp, Logan. But
No, I mean it's fine. I don't think he's terrible. It's just like he takes his time getting to the point.
Yeah, he does. I like Slaughterhouse Scott. Tony, what do you like?
So there you go.
I didn't hear what you said. You cut out.
I cast my vote for all three.
Okay, Scott, what do you like?
I think I'm going to go with Slaughterhouse Scott too.
Okay. I will say, I'll ask you this, Logan. It doesn't really matter
Yeah.
at this point, but I'm curious if Lamont should have an E at the end of it.
So I envisioned it as, I guess how it's spelled. There was no E when I would have kind of envisioned it.
Okay, cool. I was on the same page then.
Yeah.
Logan, I'm gonna write you a sentence that I want you to say with your mouth.
I can say those sentences with my mouth probably.
God.
You can at least try.
Listen, IGN to
No, you can't do. I can't type and do that.
the Irrational Passions podcast episode. What episode is this?
432, dude. 432.
432.
We're counting down.
Oh God.
I'll say the title whenever you're ready, Logan.
I'm get comfortable up in here. Reading my VO stance.
Hello.
Hello, welcome to the news. You're listening to the Irrational Passions podcast, episode 432.
Slaughterhouse Scott. That's it. That's how they do it. Thanks everybody for watching. We love y'all. Have a good night. Oh no, I didn't want to hit that button. That was the wrong button. Bye.